On Saturday, April 26, 2003, a 27-year-old engineer named Aron Ralston drove to Utah's Canyonlands National Park for a solo hiking and climbing trip. He was experienced, confident, and craving solitude. He told no one where he was going, a decision that would nearly kill him. He parked his truck, grabbed his gear, and headed into Blue John Canyon, a narrow slot canyon with walls of red sandstone rising hundreds of feet above. The sun was bright, the air crisp. It was supposed to be a routine adventure. By early afternoon, he was deep in the canyon, climbing over boulders wedged between the narrow walls. He stepped onto one, an 800-pound chalk stone lodged in the crack. It shifted, and suddenly, Aron was falling. The boulder came with him, pinning his right hand against the canyon wall. He tried to pull free. He couldn't. The rock had crushed his hand, trapping it completely. He was stuck, alone, miles from help, and no one knew where he was. This is the story of a man who spent 127 hours trapped in a 3-foot-wide crack in the earth and the unthinkable choice he made to survive. The first hours were panic. Aron pulled, twisted, tried to shift the boulder with his body weight. It wouldn't budge. He had a small backpack, a Camelback with 350 milliliters of water, 2 burritos, a cheap multi-tool climbing rope, a video camera, and a headlamp. That was it. No phone signal, no GPS beacon, no one expecting him back. He screamed for help until his voice gave out. No one came. Blue John Canyon is remote, rarely visited. He realized with sickening clarity he was going to die here unless he did something drastic. He tried everything. He rigged his climbing rope to the boulder and used it as a pulley, trying to lift the rock. It didn't move an inch. He chipped at the boulder with his knife, hoping to carve away enough rock to free his hand. After hours of work, he'd barely scratched the surface. The knife was dull, the rock too hard. He rationed his water, taking tiny sips, knowing it had to last. By Sunday morning, the reality set in. He wasn't getting out the normal way. He started thinking about the unthinkable, amputation. But how? His multi-tool had a dull 2-inch blade. He had no medical training. His hand was crushed beneath 800 pounds of rock. He couldn't even see it clearly, couldn't assess the damage. And even if he cut through skin and muscle, how would he cut through bone? The knife couldn't do it. He tried anyway, making small cuts on his thumb, testing his resolve. The pain was excruciating. He stopped. He wasn't ready. Not yet. Days passed. The water ran out. Dehydration set in. His urine turned dark brown, then stopped altogether. His tongue swelled, his lips cracked and bled. Hallucinations began. He saw family, friends, rescue helicopters that weren't there. He recorded video messages on his camera saying goodbye to his parents, apologizing for not telling anyone where he'd gone. He scratched his name and birth date into the canyon wall, along with what he assumed would be his death date. He was preparing to die, but something in him refused to give up. On Thursday morning, day 5, something changed. Aron had a vision. He saw a small boy, a toddler, running toward him. He knew somehow that it was his future son, and he realized if he wanted that future, he had to act now. He looked at his trapped arm with new clarity. The hand was dead, no blood flow for 5 days, the tissue black and necrotic. It wasn't part of him anymore, it was an anchor. And anchors can be cut loose. He realized he didn't need to cut through bone. He could break it. He leaned his body weight against his forearm and snapped the radius. The sound echoed in the canyon. Then he snapped the ulna. The pain was beyond description, but he was committed now. Using the dull blade of his multi-tool, he began to cut. He sliced through dead skin, then muscle, then tendons. It took over an hour. Blood poured down the rock. He used a carabiner as a tourniquet, tightening it with a stick to slow the bleeding. Finally, the last strand of tissue separated. He was free. But he wasn't safe. He'd lost blood, was severely dehydrated, and had a 65-foot cliff to rappel with one arm. He rigged his rope, wrapped it around his body, and descended. His legs shook. His vision blurred. At the bottom, he still had 7 miles to hike back to his truck. He stumbled through the desert, delirious, leaving a trail of blood. Then, a miracle. He encountered a family on vacation. They gave him water, radioed for help. A helicopter arrived and airlifted him to a hospital. Doctors said if he'd waited another hour, he would have died from blood loss and organ failure. Aron Ralston had spent 127 hours trapped in a canyon. He'd amputated his own arm with a dull pocket knife, and he'd walked out alive. 6 months later, he returned to climbing. He summited mountains, run marathons, and yes, he had that son he saw in his vision. The arm he left behind is still there, entombed beneath the boulder, a relic of the worst and best decision of his life. Aaron's story became a book, then a film, 127 Hours, directed by Danny Boyle. It's a testament to human will, to the instinct to survive at any cost. But it's also a cautionary tale. Aaron broke the first rule of wilderness survival: always tell someone where you're going. That one decision nearly killed him. Today, he's an advocate for outdoor safety, carrying a beacon and satellite phone on every trip. He speaks about those 5 days not with regret, but with gratitude. "That rock gave me my life back," he says. "It forced me to fight for it." The boulder is still wedged in Blue John Canyon. Hikers occasionally visit, leaving notes and flowers. It's become a shrine to survival, to the choice between dying whole or living incomplete. Aaron chose life, and in doing so, he proved that the human will to survive is stronger than bone, stronger than stone, stronger than anything the wilderness can throw at us. He didn't just survive, he conquered.